Hello my dear students, good day. I am Somasundaram from Bharatdasnar Metric Higher Secondary School, Arakonam. We have been discussing about quantum mechanical concept. So on the continuation of our previous session, this is the third part of that video. So in our previous video, we have been discussing about Bohr's atomic model. So according to Bohr's postulates, first, he was stating about the presence of stationary orbit, the presence of orbits, okay? The presence of orbit. They have a particular kind of energy that is called as quantization of energy. So one orbit contains 1 h nu, the second orbit may be 2 h nu or 3 h nu. That is called as quantization of the energy. It is multiples of the whole numbers. The energy must be multiples of the whole numbers. Next, angular momentum. The angular momentum must be also quantized. The angular momentum mvr, that is equal to nh by 2 pi. Okay. So the allowed orbit must be having the multiples of h by 2 pi value. That is angular momentum quantization. Next, as long as an electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, it doesn't lose energy. So this is the actual drawbacks of the Rutherford. So he recovered by stating this statement. Okay. So if an electron revolves around the nucleus in a stationary orbit, it doesn't lose any energy. But some phenomena like excitation and coming out from the higher energy state to ground state may happen. What is he saying? So, as long as electron revolves around the fixed orbit, it doesn't lose energy. However, when an electron can jump from lower energy state to higher energy state, okay, it is possible when it absorbing some kind of energy, maybe in the form of heat energy or light energy. Okay. So, and it can move to the higher energy state. Once it reaches the higher energy state, it won't stay long there. It should come back to the stationary state by losing the same kind of energy in the form of light energy. So, this is called as emission. See here, an electron is residing in the stationary orbit, which can be called as ground state. When we are striking some energy with the electron, on the electron, it will get the energy and it can go to the higher energy state. Now the electron from higher energy state is coming back to the ground state. While on coming back to the ground state, it loses some energy in the form of wave, that is light energy. So we can say the energy of that emitted light energy as E is equal to h nu according to Max Planck. And also this energy can be calculated from the energies of orbits. What is it? E of the emitted light, energy of the emitted light, that is equal to the energy of the upper orbit, that is higher energy state, E2 minus E1. What is E1? That is the energy of the ground state, that is the stationary orbit state. Okay. So the difference between the energy of higher energy state and the ground energy state, that is equal to the energy of the ejected or emitted rays, emitted light energy. That is what he is proposing. So the quantization of energy also explained using this equation, as well as the atomic spectroscopy can be explained using this equation. So E is equal to E2 minus E1. We all know energy is equal to h nu, that is equal to E2 minus E1. And what about the frequency? We can identify the frequency of the emitted light, that is nu is equal to E2 minus E1 divided by h, that is Planck's constant. So this is the final expression to identify the frequency of emitted radiation. And Bohr's atomic model can explain one electron species like hydrogen. So in hydrogen, how many electrons are available? Yes, very good. Only one electron. Likewise, there are some other ions also possible having one electron. That is helium plus, lithium 2 plus, beryllium 3 plus. See, in helium, 2 electrons are there. It can lose one electron to attain helium plus. Then it contains only one electron. Likewise, lithium 2 plus. In lithium, there are 3 electrons. When it loses 2 electrons, it will become lithium 2 plus. Okay. Now, the number of electrons available in lithium 2 plus is only 1 electron. So, Bohr's atomic model can be best suitable only for one electron species, not for multi-electron species. So, here Bohr proposed a equation to solve how to identify the energy as well as the radius of a particular orbital, but it is only for one electron species, not for multi-electron species. The equation to identify the radius of an electron, okay, that is Rn, that is equal to, that is radius of the nth orbit, that is equal to 0.529, that is a constant value, 0.529 n square divided by Z Armstrong. Here you will get the radius in Armstrong unit. See students, n represents nth orbit, Z represents atomic number of the atom. So now students, for hydrogen, we will calculate the radius of the first orbit of hydrogen atom. Radius of the first orbit of hydrogen atom. So R1. Why I am putting 1? Because it is the first orbit, that is equal to 0.529, that is a constant value, into n square by Z in Armstrong unit, that is equal to 0.529 into, what is n square? Here we are saying the first orbit, so 1 square, first orbit. What is the atomic number of hydrogen? That is also 1, so 1 Armstrong. So the radius of the first orbit of hydrogen is equal to 0.529 Armstrong. Okay, or else you can convert it into picometer, that is equal to 52.9 picometer. So this is the radius of the hydrogen. What about helium? Will it change? Yes. So we should talk about the helium plus, because this is the one electron species. You can't identify the radius of helium atom. You can identify only helium, unipositive helium ion, helium plus. So radius of the first orbit R1, that is equal to 0.529 n square. Here n value is 1. So 1 square divided by Z. Atomic number of helium is, yes, correct, 2. So this is 2. That is equal to 0.529 divided by 2 Armstrong. So the radius of the hydrogen and helium, if you compare the radius, the helium ion, the radius of the helium ion is half of the amount of the radius of hydrogen. It is very smaller one. But here we are considering only helium, unipositive helium, not the helium atom. And he expressed how to find out the energy of the nth orbit of hydrogen as well as hydrogen-like ions. So first, energy in the form of electron volt, that is En is equal to minus 13.6 Z square divided by n square electron volt per atom, not for 1 mole, it is for 1 atom, as well as in joules or kilojoules. En is equal to minus 1312.8 Z square by n square kilojoule per atom. If you want to calculate it for 1 mole of molecules or atoms, you have to multiply this value with Avogadro number. Then only you will get energy for 1 mole. Okay. So here the expression is only for 1 atom. Now again we will calculate the energy of first orbit of hydrogen atom. What is it? We will substitute. That is equal to minus 13.6 is the constant value, minus 13.6 Z square, that is the atomic number of hydrogen, so it is 1 square divided by, what about n square? That is also the first orbit, right? So it is 1 square. So in electron volt per atom. So what is the value we are getting? That is minus 13.6 electron volt per atom. So this is the energy of first orbit of hydrogen. So what about the second orbit? Can we calculate? Yes. That is equal to, we will calculate now with electron volt. Minus 13.6 into, see, Z square, atomic number 1 square divided by, what about the orbit? It is a second orbit, so it must be 2 square. That is equal to minus 13.6 divided by 4 electron volt per atom. If you compare the energy of the first orbit and the second orbit is 4 times higher than the first one. How I am saying 4 times higher? See, here the second orbit divided by 4, right? But I am saying the second orbit has 4 times more than the previous one, first orbit. Why? It is in negative value, that is why. Okay, it is having the negative value, so that this is the higher energy. Okay, second orbit has higher energy than the first orbit. Next, what are the limitations of Bohr's atomic model? First one, yeah, I said it is applicable only for one electron species, not for multi-electron species. That is the best first drawback or limitation of Bohr's model. What is the next one? It can't explain the atomic spectroscopy of the Zeeman and Stark effect. Okay, and see, in presence of magnetic and electric field, it is giving some fine lines or splitting of lines in atomic spectroscopy. So using the Bohr's atomic model, you could not explain the Zeeman as well as Stark effect. Next, why the electrons are restricted in a particular single orbit? Why they are not going anywhere else? Okay, that is the main question asked by scientists to Bohr. He could not answer it. Thank you very much, students. In this video, we have discussed about Bohr's atomic model and we have calculated the radius of hydrogen atom as well as the energy of the hydrogen atom, the orbit of the hydrogen atom. Thank you very much, students.